Oh, yeah,
A
Sol
lot of
Brah.
people can feel it. Something is deeply wrong with the world.
Sol Brah
I
time.
don't mean
2x
some
speed,
small
this shit.
feelings that you can just ignore or meditate away.
Bro,
I mean,
bro took the
structurally,
DMT.
foundationally.
This bro's on some DMT. You see Brian Johnson's going to do DMT, but it's going to do the frog venom DMT. And then you just see a bunch of crazy stories that are just obviously just bullshit, that are just made up, that are not like what you get when you do like DMT or stuff like that. Very weird. I don't know what compels people to lie about like doing that stuff. There was this one I saw, and he's like, yeah, and I saw like clowns dancing around. And then they picked me up and they took me to their leader. And I was like, what are you talking about, dude? What is this even? What is the story? And it's like had like 1,000 likes and people, wow, you're so brave. It's like, yeah, it was an adventure. It was a big adventure and it was pretty scary, but you know, I did it. It's like, what are you talking this? But yeah, it'll be very fun to see Brian Johnson, what he says about it.
Down to the bedrock, they're wrong. Something's wrong. The institutions, they don't serve us. The culture is inverted. The things that should be sacred are mocked, and the things that should be mocked are paraded as virtues. You're not alone in perhaps feeling an intense pressure or darkness in this time. There's just something that does not resonate with our souls. If you felt that, if you've looked around at this world in its current state of things, and something in your gut has said this isn't right, then I want you to know two things. Firstly, you're correct. It isn't right. You're not crazy for feeling this way.
Dude, life is awesome.
This has been predicted thousands and thousands of years ago.
I've been pirating movies. I've been eating food, getting money from Kick, hitting 1,000 viewers on Kick, getting paid, using AI. Life is perfect. Life has gotten better. This is how I know me smoking DMT was a good idea. Because ever since I did it for so long, ever since I saw the elves and I got taken to the Elf King, and I had a big conversation after I did DMT, my life has gotten better. I've hit the right frequency, okay? I've hit the perfect frequency where I'm now like tapped in, and now I'm just dominating reality, and the world is opening itself up to me. And that's all because I just did a bunch of DMT.
Time and history as a repeating cycle in this magical simulation existence we live in can be seen to repeat itself and to
I'm
follow
getting paid to eat potato chips, dude.
Just predict this age of darkness. They left us instructions.
People deliver me food.
Well, now, not how to hide.
They deliver water to my house.
Not to pretend it's fine.
And I get paid to eat potato chips and talk and watch YouTube videos.
How to use the very darkness itself as fuel for something extraordinary. What Julius Evola called riding the tiger.
We definitely need to put this guy into the signal machine, though. This guy definitely needs to be put into the signal machine.
It will help carry you through. And why should we do that? Consider this your briefing before battle. Because whether you know it or not, you are already on the battlefield. To understand where we are, you have to understand the entire map. And the map is old, very old, older than any current government, religion, institution that currently exists. The Hindu cosmological traditions teach that time does not necessarily move in this linear, straight line that we are, used to thinking about time as. It moves in cycles, and these are vast cycles called yugas, or cosmic ages. Each has a distinct character, each following the last, like seasons come and go.
What does it mean?
First,
what does it mean if everyone's saying it's like the end of the world, but you're like, this is awesome? That's my real question would be like, what does it mean if you're like, whenever things seem to be getting worse and more unstable, your life seems to be getting better?
Is the Satya Yuga, the golden age, the age of truth, of total divine connection, the Garden of Eden. Humanity lives in perfect alignment with cosmic law. There's no deception, there's no materialism, no separation from the source of all things. Imagine a world where every person remembers what they are, where the veil between the human and the divine doesn't exist, because there is no veil. That is the Satya Yuga, the eternal summer. Then comes the Treta Yuga, the Silver Age. This is the first dimming of reality. Virtue declines by a quarter. Spiritual practice becomes necessary because the connection to the divine is no longer automatic. You have to work at it for now. You have to work for it. People are still noble, though. They're still oriented towards the truth en masse. But the drift has begun. The first chill of autumn. Things have started to change. The Dvapara Yuga, the Bronze Age, the decline is accelerating. Virtue and truth are now halved. Society grows complex, conflicted. The divine kind of feels distant. There's less magic in the world. It's a memory rather than a constant presence. People begin chasing power, material wealth as substitutes for the spiritual connection they feel slipping through their fingers. So they try to replace it with money or other material goods. Then, where we stand right now is the Kali Yuga, the Iron Age, the Dark Age, the age of maximum spiritual density, spiritual heaviness weighing down, maximum confusion, maximum distance from God, the source. Rene Guénon, one of the great analysts of the traditional worldview, described our position with zero sentimentality. We are in the final phase of the Kali Yuga, the darkest period of this dark age, and it's a state of dissolution from which there is no exit, except through complete renewal. In the Kali Yuga, everything inverts. The lowest values rise to the top. Materialism becomes the dominant religion as we see in our world today. Capitalism on overdrive. Truth tellers are persecuted. We're seeing that all over the Western world today, while liars and manipulators run the institutions. Everyone can see our ruling class and see that these are people of not great renown, not great wisdom. They're slimy little slugs and rats. No offense to slimes and rats, to slugs and rats. These people are below that, but they are the ones doing the institutional powers, making the decisions to some degree in the whole show of it all, right? The sacred in the Kali Yuga is treated as superstition. Science is worshipped. There is no divine. There's no God. The profane is treated as progress. What people are doing now, the minutiae day-to-day nonsense that doesn't matter, that's elevated.
Right, for autism, you're about to be banned. You're about to be
Cultural
banned. Keep it up. My
memory
moms will ban you, dude.
The idea of our traditions, they're forgotten. We have right now.
You'll go
the
where my
age
hairline
amounts of
was.
Mixed cultures and
You'll be
racism
sent to
and all
the
this kind of stuff
into the
melting
nether
into a
realm.
lot of grossness. There's no distinction. There's no clarity in people forgetting where they came from. This is the Kali Yuga. Traditions are actively destroyed. I'm sure a lot of us would have loved to participate in our traditions, but we were born into a world that doesn't value them anymore, or is actively has forces trying to take those traditions away. The vast majority of people don't even notice because they were born into darkness. They've never known anything else, and what they think is daylight is actually a very dark, comparative state of existence. But this is where I need you to pay attention, very close attention. The Kali Yuga is a phase in a cycle. It's not the end. So don't doom. It's just a phase. The ancient wisdoms are clear. After the longest, darkest winter, the golden age returns. Dissolution reaches its terminal point. From the ashes, renewal. The wheel turns. The wheel of time is always turning. The dawn breaks. The darkness is real, but it's not forever. So we have to remember that. Once you understand it, truly take it in, everything kind of changes about how you can operate within this world, how you carry yourself through time. The symptoms. The reason why this ancient model of the Kali Yuga kind of hits people, and why it hit me, is that every single characteristic of the Kali Yuga maps onto our modern world with a pretty distinct accuracy. So start with the inversion of values. What does our culture celebrate today? Vanity, excess, degeneracy, narcissism, victimhood. Weakness is rebranded as like being sensitive, and look at what it attacks. Discipline, honor, strength, tradition, masculinity, reverence. Anyone that takes anything sacred or seriously is viewed as cringe. This culture that we're in, it doesn't just neglect them, it actively turns them upside down. What the ancient world would have called virtue, the modern world calls oppression. What the ancient world called degeneracy, the modern world calls courage and bravery. Oh, you're so brave doing that. The inversion of everything is total. They flipped it. Let's look at the institutions. The government, captured by certain interests that have nothing to do with the people that it claims to serve. Media, we've got a fear manufacturing machine that profits from our anxiety and just says it's keeping you informed, right? Education, a system that produces compliant workers, not awakened human beings. The brainwashing machines. Medicine, health is increasingly driven by pharmaceutical profit rather than genuinely wanting to heal people. People are getting sicker by the day. Organized religions are hollowed out. There's like this shell where the spirit used to live, and there are often just control systems in place. None of this is failing randomly. It's decaying because the age itself is defined by the decay. Let's go have my lion's mane.
I'm just going to have my lines, man. You can get at my shop.
So let's look at the erasure of our memory.
Or you can get my Lay's kettle cooked jalapeno chips.
Our racial understanding, our spirituality, all that's been cut off.
I heard you didn't make a video on the Kali Yuga and then have a supplement of lion's mane and now think you're like the same exact as like what you're talking about.
History has been rewritten. Traditions dismantled.
It's like, damn. Dude, you are the last man, bro. Now let me eat my potato chips.
No one's reading these ancient texts or the real philosophy today. And so people cut off from their roots are people who can be reprogrammed with anything. They wipe our minds, they take away the connection, and then they put something else in. There's no anchor, no reference point for what's true, what's real, what's time-tested and proved over many generations. René Guénon names this with precision. He called our era the reign of quantity, a world where everything that matters is immeasurable, everything that's measured doesn't matter. There's no longer any place for intelligence or anything that is purely inward. Every human experience is reduced to a number, a financial report, a number in your bank account. We are pretty much worked as cattle in a lot of the existence today of the world. Now, all these things and judgments that I'm placing on the society and observations, I say, because there's no judgment, I'm just observing it all. This is objectively looking at the world and seeing what's happening. It's not dooming you to that existence, and this is part of the point of the presentation. I'm living a great life. I'm in the Kali Yuga. I'm observing everything, but I'm living how I want, and I'm having fun, and I'm leveling myself up. I'm expanding spiritually. I'm learning all the time. I love it. I love life. I'm creating my reality. However, at the same time, you can see the bloody
Bro's confused.
Modern rappers' name these days, but like they're being disgusting and degenerate, and they're importing millions of people.
Them rappers are being
culture. Like it's pretty cooked. Like you have to objectively see that as well. So I see both, but don't let it demotivate you. Is my point. So what René was saying, every sacred thing has been flattened into a commodity. That's the waters we're swimming in, and the fish doesn't realize he's in that water. He just thinks he's, I'm swimming.
Bro.
There's also the attack on the heroic archetype itself. Why is the heroic archetype attacked? Because the Kali Yuga cannot tolerate the hero. The hero is everything the Dark Age exists to suppress: strength, sovereignty.
The Kali Yuga can't tolerate.
The crowd has lost its way and say, nope.
See, this is where it's like, I will say I'm like correcting that people are wrong. There's a time when nobody should be a hero. And that's like the game. Because everyone's like, at the end of the day, everyone wants to believe they're the good person. Even me, for wanting to tell you this. But like, everyone wants to believe they're the good person. And that like, even if they're the bad person for a good reason. And that's the scam. That's like the reason people get like messed up. Where I was like, no, you could just be a person. That's not good or bad. And it's not for any reason. And it's not because you're special, and it's not because you're not special. And it's not because you're smart or stupid. It's not because you like earned it or you got given it or you didn't. It is what it is. And if you can really embody that and it's like, hey, guess what? There is a time when to survive, it just means don't be a hero. Not because being a hero would threaten the system. And then the system's going to try to kill you. And so you should not be a hero because, don't be a hero. They'll try to kill you if you try to be a hero. Or like, be a hero because that's the only way to survive. It's like, no, like, what if the only way to survive is literally not being a hero and just accepting things as they are? Not because unfairly heroes are being killed, just because it's not, the time doesn't call for it. The time doesn't call for it. And it's like when you're playing Dance Dance Revolution, you're playing Guitar Hero, hence the name Guitar Hero, Rock Band or Dance Dance Revolution, right? You hit the wrong pedal at the wrong time. It's not that like something horrible happens. It's not that you're going to be punished by an evil system. It's not that you are, brave and you hit the wrong button at the wrong time. No, it's you hit the wrong button at the wrong time, and that's all that happened. And that's all the meaning there is. There's no deeper meaning. It just means that you didn't hit the button at the right time. And it's the same thing as like being brave, being a hero, standing up for yourself, standing up for the truth, standing up for what's correct. It's not that button time right now. In the time of reality, it's just not that time. And hitting that button, it's just nothing's going to happen. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. At best, nothing's going to happen, right? So it's not like cowardice or bravery or like, it's just like, what do you do? Why would you? That's a button you can hit. That's one of the buttons on the game you can hit. We're in a rhythm game. And right now, it's not smart and it's not cool. It's not like, wow, you're a good person for being brave. It's just like, actually, it's just stupid. It's like dumb. It's like playing a different game and saying, I guess I'm too brave for this game because this Dance Dance Revolution keypad entries, this Rock Band game doesn't seem to be accepting it. And it would be a perfect game. It's like, well, no, we're not playing Dance Dance Revolution. We're playing Rock Band. We're still playing a rhythm game, but it's a different game. Why self-immolate? Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of those things. It's like, where are we at? It's like, well, okay, well, think about it. What bravery is going to get? Where is bravery going to get you? Don't be brave. Just be busy. Just do things. Like, everybody wants to be some hero. Everybody wants to be some like super important story or legacy. Don't think about that. Think about, well, what do I want to do tomorrow? What do I want to do today? Well, what do I want to do today? Oh, I want to make money today. All right, I'll stream today. I want to eat potato chips. I'll eat potato chips. What do I want to do tomorrow? I want to box. Well, am I going to be healthy enough? I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. But at the end of the day, it's just take it a very small thing. The world's changing too fast to be like, oh, I'm going to put my head on I'm going to go be a martyr for. Think about the people who died. Think about that lady January 6th who died, or the people who went to jail. Baked Alaska, an amazing patriot, Timothy GMA, right? Shining voice, very big figure in the media, huge platform, huge celebrity, right? He's like one of the top 10 internet commentators in politics in all of American history, right? He goes January 6th, Timothy GMA, he goes to the steps of the Capitol, does nothing wrong, but he's brave. He stands up for his country, stands up for his president. He stands up for America, for democracy. He stands up and he says, I will be counted. I will put my life on the line for you, Donald Trump, and for you, America, for you, George Washington. All right, I will sacrifice what I have to sacrifice in order to the stars and stripes to make sure that flag doesn't get replaced with the Chinese flag, doesn't get replaced with the Russian flag, doesn't get replaced with any of those flags. I will stand for the Constitution. I will stand for what is true. I will stand for God, for Jesus Christ. I will stand for America itself, herself. What happens? He gets arrested for no reason. Gets arrested, gets thrown in solitary confinement, Rikers Island prison for years. Entire career ruined. People think he's a pedophile now. The entire media apparatus has put out stories of him being a pedophile. They've made AI deepfakes of him having sex with children, right? They've destroyed his name. People Google Timothy GMA, they see hardcore pornography, gay porn, underage porn, stuff of children, horrible stuff that his family thinks he's a pedophile now. He's still in prison. He was making millions of dollars before, right? And now people think he's a gay pedophile who lives in prison because he stood up and he was brave. Is that bravery? No, that's stupidity. You know what I mean? Now, Kanye West won't even walk him out and he's trying to leave because Kanye West thinks he's a pedophile. So what I'm saying is, at a certain point, it's like, is it brave to be brave? No. You're not being punished because you're brave. You're being punished because you're stupid. And you're playing the wrong game. If I'm playing Monopoly and you're playing checkers, and I bring a chess piece to the board, you're not going to be like mad at me because I'm brave. You're going to be confused and you're going to put me in prison because I'm an insane person, right? Because I am not making any sense. I'm insane, right? And that's what's happening with people being brave. You're not brave for saying the truth, which is the nanobots in the 5G vaccine, the truth, which is the holographic Earth, the homunculus, right? The homunculus they keep of everybody in the basement. How I said too much. How they keep a homunculus doll of every single person on Earth so they can predict all our moves. What you have to be thinking is they can predict everything. So I have to Jester Max in my own life. I have to make them think that I should survive, so they move around the little homunculi doll. So my homunculus doll wins and is more sentient and powerful than my competitors' dolls. Because somewhere in a basement, there's a voodoo doctor, and he has millions of little dolls, right? And you have to ask yourself, he could be black, he could be white, he could be gay, he could be straight. But one thing, every single type of person, whether male or female, gay or straight, trans even, or cis, hetero, you can upset all of them in different ways. You don't know what all of them like. But one thing all of them like to do is laugh. One thing all of them like to do is feel amused and feel like they have a special connection to the audience, right? And so the thing that you have to do is how do you win the favor of the witch doctor somewhere in a basement with a million different homunculi, right? Is you make them smile. All right, and you make them think to themselves, wow, this guy, he gets me. And he doesn't care that I'm black, or he doesn't care that I'm white, or he doesn't care that I'm straight or gay or trans. And it would be funny if he was given more power than his enemies, because those people piss me off and he's amusing me. So really, don't think about life as a strategy in terms of being productive, or like thinking about wisdom, or thinking about strength or honor or bravery or planning ahead or money or power. Think about it as if there's interdimensional witch doctors with little homunculi and little dolls they play with, and they figured it out before us, so they're ahead of us in the game. And we need to charm them interdimensionally so they give us powers, and then we can destroy our enemies and maybe end up the witch doctors in our dimension with other homunculi. Right? Does that make sense to you guys? All right, let's watch the rest of this.
So the culture dismantles the heroic ideal piece by piece. It takes away our heroes, it tears down our statues, and what happens is there's that archetype that is possible to be embodied by all of us. If we don't know that archetype exists and the society we're born into is denigrating these heroes and that archetype, then we're going to move away from that as a given. The strong man is called toxic. Warrior spirit is frowned on, pathologized. Oh, why don't you just fit in, bro? Don't be too toxic. Don't be too masculine.
That's why it's important to be good looking too, honestly, because think about it, right? It's like, we got to think about who's like good people who are funny. They can't be ugly. If you're like, okay, if you're a little like, Joe Rogan's not good looking, but he's not ugly, right? He's a little funny looking. The more gross you start looking, the more disturbed you start looking, the less you start attracting entities that are like, cool. All right, think about grossness. It's like gross people kind of ugly things flock together. So you don't really want to be ugly. You want to attract the things that are like smart and cool and chill and swag, you know? And kind of like cooler than the other ones. So you kind of just got to be that way. You got to be that vibe, because that way your vibe attracts your tribe. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, think about like, that's why it's important. That's why I gotta get my hairline back, because who wants to look at a bald person? Imagine if you're an interdimensional entity and you had unlimited power. Would you want to be helping out bald people? No, you would want to help out like people with a full hairline, because it'd be more aesthetic to look at. You know what I mean?
Do what you're told, do what police say, do what the government says. That's what we're told.
You could attract Peter too.
Self-reliance is treated as like antisocial. The message that's broadcast through every screen, every institution is be small, be passive, accept it, be dependent, be afraid. It's so bad. Do not, under any circumstances, awaken to what you truly are. That's what they tell us. So if you recognize that, if something in you has been resisting this current your whole life without knowing why, then what I'm about to tell you, it's going to feel like remembering something.
Too late, Paul. Paul's had his 1 year away from Norwood 3.
So there's a fatal error that you can make. you first discover this Kali Yuga framework. You see the darkness for the first time. You can put a name and a label on it. And some people just break. They collapse into despair. They fall into a permanent outrage. They're shaking their fist at the machine that they can't necessarily dismantle or affect. Or they can surrender to nihilism. Oh, if it's all falling apart, what's the point? What's the point in trying if it's all going to break down? All three of these responses, despair,
I needed
outrage,
this.
and
Ooh, I
nihilism,
needed this video.
and they're precisely what the Kali Yuga wants you to do. If a man is consumed by despair, he's a neutralized man. A man consumed by rage is burning his own fuel for nothing and doesn't think clearly. And a nihilist didn't even pick up his sword. Without a single blow being struck, he's not fighting anymore.
See, one of the things is this is like and this is why you need to vote for JD Vance. And then you got to say, well, the arguments are one thing. Let's look at the fruit. This is where Jesus is like a really good like metric. Where it's like, let's look at the fruit of what we're saying, okay? Like what I'm saying, the fruit of it is like, oh, cool, be healthy, work out, make money, have good food, enjoy yourself, be healthy. And then these people are like, sunbathe, strip naked, put your balls and testicles in the sun, lie about taking steroids and say you're getting jacked from milk, and speak in a funny accent, and vote for JD Vance. And you say, well, who seems more on point here? Because this is the thing, too. It's like, I think a lot of these people don't. I think there's a certain level of like meaningfulness that everyone's life has meaning. But there's also a certain point of meaninglessness that you have to be okay with. And once you're okay with it, you'll be chill, where it's like, it's not that everything's meaningless and that's horrible. It's that at the end of the day, it's like, well, my life doesn't really matter more than somebody else's life, because at the end of the day, our lives just matter to ourselves. And then, you know, to a stranger, both our lives are just strangers' lives, right? It's like, maybe they'll like my life more than somebody else's life. But at the end of the day, it's like, we're kind of all meaningless lives, right? And that's okay, because that gives you space to make some meaning out of it. It's not the end of the world. And the meaning is not actually meaningless. It's just, that's, you know, you take, you know, the whole is greater than the equal to the parts of its sums, or whatever it's called. Yeah, this sounds, I feel like I'm just saying nonsense now. But essentially, like, there is meaning, but it's not really. Our meaning is kind of an illusion, if that makes sense. It's like our lives are kind of insignificant, which is cool, because it means we don't have to, just like, there's nothing I'm going to do which is going to damn the entire universe, right? Nothing there's no like decision I'm going to make one day where like I flip a switch and then everybody goes to hell, or I flip a switch and everyone goes to heaven, right? That's not like a thing. And because of that, you can extract that back, where it's like, there's not me voting. There's no person I can vote for that's going to save America or damn America or whatever country you're in. There's no like political thing I can support or not support that's going to make my country succeed or make my country fail. There's no thing in my life, one specific thing, that is going to make my life a success or my life a failure, barring killing myself, right? But there are types of things that make my life better, make my life worse. And these people are looking for one main big story. And, you know, that's not even their flaw. They have so many different flaws. Like that's the thing, is like, even trying to point out, like, that's like falling into their trap of like, everything is what, this or that, this or that, this or that. It's like, no, it's kind of a gradient descent. Or gradient ascent. A little nerd humor for us in the chat, for the nerds in the chat, a little nerd humor. Where it's like their flaw is not one flaw, it's like their essence is flawed. And that expresses itself in a trillion different ways. And so to take it, you know, every aspect of what they do is wrong in some way. Whereas where essence is correct, our essence is correct. And so everything we do, even the things we do incorrectly, have an essence of, you know, truthfulness and beauty and correctness to them. So even the things that are beautiful that they do, they suck, and you can find the flaw. And if you can do that, then it's like, this means that at their essence, they're broken. Whereas somebody like Harmony Korine, right? In my opinion, in his essence is correct, right? And so he makes stuff, and a lot of it is like kind of gross or stuff that's wrong, I don't agree with, right? But you can look inside of it and say, wow, that's beautiful. Wow, there's beauty and there's correctness inside of it. Even if the whole, or like the illusion of the whole, is incorrect, the actual essence of what he makes is correct. His soul, his essence is correct, right? And so you compare that to Who's somebody who makes technically good movies that suck? Who's the guy who made Trust Me, I'm Lying? Steven Spielberg? Yeah, Steven Spielberg. It's like, yeah, he can make good movies, but then you look into it and it's like, this kind of sucks. This kind of sucks. This kind of sucks. You know? Or, whereas, Harmony Korine, it's like the stuff that sucks, in my life, you look at me, my essence is correct, right? My essence is perfect. And so at the end of the day, even when I make mistakes, when I forget to pay my bills, the landlord should say, but in essence, their stay here has been so beautiful that they don't need to pay their bills, because technically, yes, their essence, they're wrong. They haven't paid and they're overstaying, but in whole, their life is beautiful. And so I would be wrong to kick them out. And so that's what I found in my life is, this is a good way to metric to say, is my essence true or is my essence false? Is when people do you wrong, do they benefit or do they get hurt? If they benefit when they do you wrong, that means your essence is wrong, because, two wrongs, two no's make a yes, right? You know what I mean? Two wrongs make a right. But it's right to wrong the wrong, you know what I mean? But it's wrong to wrong the right. Does that make sense? And then, so you think about it this way, right? In my life, when I found people who've wronged me, without fail, I can't name an exception. They suffer for it. And that's why I always laugh to myself. And I laugh in a very knowing, kind of weirdly prophetic way. That's very disturbing to people. Very sort of deep and ominous way, right? And it's kind of like a laugh it disturbs people, because they think they've taken advantage of me, but really I display such a lack of care, and I display such a lack of like any worry, that it makes them start to feel like they're cursed, because they are. They are. Horrible things happen to them. Their world becomes dark and terrible. And the worse their world gets, the more everything good that's in their world gets given to me in a different dimension. And that's how reality works, and that's true. And that's because my essence is good, right? So, but then when people are nice to me, their life gets better. But that's really how it works, is if people do you wrong, if people who do you wrong get a benefit, that means you're in the wrong. And that means that you have something wrong with you. It means that so if your complaint is people take advantage of me and they always keep that means, guess what? You're in the wrong. And that's true, right? For me, when people take advantage of me, I say, well, whatever they tried to steal from me, I'll get back 10 times better. And they will have a curse on them and their children and their children's children, and their souls will be enslaved. But that's neither here nor there. Let's watch the rest of this video.
The Kali Yuga wins all three of these without even trying, just through the psychological warfare. But the traditions teach us something else. The Kali Yuga, despite being the darkest age, is simultaneously the age of greatest spiritual opportunity. The scriptures state that sincere spiritual effort in the Kali Yuga carries more weight, more karmic power than extreme austerities performed in the Golden Age. Why? Because of the resistance. Think about it. In the Golden Age, spiritual growth is just the natural current. You're floating downstream, not carrying the world. In the Kali Yuga, every inch of spiritual progress is one against this immense raging tide that's pushing before you. That's why we have this image of surfing the Kali Yuga, because it's this huge wave. And I'll speak more about this wave.
And this is this is an example of why he's wrong, right? This is why I'll explain. This is the trick. This is the trick, is that thinking that, hey, things suck. Now's the time for you to work really hard. Because if it sucks and you're working hard, what is the biggest lie the boomers ever told you, and poor people and are told? And what is like the biggest lie that like literally just is like completely bullshit? It's that hard work pays off, and that like hard work and suffering builds character. This is like just a lie. It's just literally just a lie. Okay? It doesn't mean that being a bad person builds character. It just means that like suffering is meaningless. This is like the big lie, right? Where it's like things suck, and this means it's your time to not give up. This is like what a bad boss will tell people. It's like, yeah, things suck now. This is your time to work extra hard, because when it don't suck, even though you weren't rewarded when they didn't suck, when you make it not suck anymore for me, trust, I'm going to give you a big reward, because you do all the work now, and then when you're done doing the work, it's like what the Republicans and Democrats do to their base, right? It's like what Nick talks about. It's like you do all the work and then wait a second. Why am I going to pay you? You did all the work. This is like the lie that this is like guys falling for, where it's like they'll say the Kali Yuga is miserable and it's hard, but if you put more effort in, you'll get more benefit. It's like, no, I didn't sign up to do this. I didn't sign up to be miserable. If this sucks, I'm just not going to participate. I didn't sign up to like not get every reward. Like, what are you talking about? Pay me before I do work. Like this is like the big lesson. Pay me before I do work. I'm not going to do work if I don't get paid. Like, what am I, a moron? You know what I mean? It's the same thing with this. It's like, yeah, it's the Kali Yuga. It's miserable. So now you get to be miserable. And if you don't give up, you carry your cross and you act like Jesus. You know where Jesus ended up? He ended up on a cross. Now, he did end up rising from the dead, right? But the thing is, he was sinless. We're not sinless. If we end up on a cross, you know where you're going to end up? On a cross. If you act like Jesus, guess what happens? You end up in the same place, but you don't resurrect because you're not Jesus. You're not going to be, you're not like the Son of God, right? So it's not to say that what Jesus did is bad, right? What I'm saying is our goal isn't to end up crucified and miserable. Our goal isn't to suffer. You know what I mean? Let's keep the red pilling on that. Let's in limited. But anyway, yeah, it's surfing the Kali Yuga is getting 13 different EBT cards and then paying black people and selling drugs. That's surfing the Kali Yuga. And that's, the real work there is to be like, hey, guess what? I'm not the hero of the story. Hey, guess what? I'm actually not a good person. I'm taking advantage of a system that is hurting a lot of people and really internalizing, hey, I'm paying taxes, or I'm a part of a system, if I'm not paying taxes, that is giving kids hormones to turn them trans, murdering children, killing children in the Middle East. And guess what? It's not like my goal is to destroy the system, because whatever system is in charge is going to do that thing somewhere else. And it's not that America is uniquely evil. America is uniquely talented. Like, that's like the big thing to take away with this is like, America is not uniquely evil and like we're uniquely bad. We're actually just uniquely better than all these other countries. And if they were in the same position of power, they would just do the same thing somewhere else, but just as a retarded version. We're just better at it. That's all it is. And the real challenge, the real spiritual opportunity is not to be like, I'm good, I'm in touch with my goodness. It's like, I am part of like a really bad system. And I also have the maturity and I have the wisdom to say I am part of that. Not to be like, I'm not part of that. And to realize I actually am just a reflection. I'm like the nice part of that. The part of like child murder, just mass Holocaust levels of child murder every single year. Like far more than that. 600 billion children are murdered every year in the womb in America, right? Children being blown up overseas, children being castrated. I am just the nice positive like face of that. I am literally on the other side of that equation. That I wouldn't exist if that didn't happen for the last 50 years. I literally wouldn't, right? Because where America would be, where my parents would be, where my grandparents would be, that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the exact amount of human sacrifice of children being murdered in the womb, of all that stuff. Okay? So I'm not going to get a holier than thou attitude than all the abortionists, all the people who've killed babies, all the people who are getting kids, to snip off their penis, right? I'm not going to get a holier than thou attitude than all the, people who, did the Dr. Fauci COVID shot vaccines on innocent people, right? That's the real challenge. The challenge is not to be like, I must be holy and I must be proper and I must not lose my soul in the Kali Yuga. The challenge is to be like, damn, I'm like from like the most evil part of the evil world in the evil time. I'm evil. Now, that doesn't mean I need to embrace being evil, but my nature is evil. And how do I live with that in a healthy way? And that's what I have to do. And not be like, and now I'm going to be a murderer. But like, I am actually just the process and the product of disgusting, horrible evil that's like running a rampant around like the universe. and I am evil. I am a part of that. I am an aspect of it. I am an attribute of that. I am not like this angel who was plopped down on, and no, it's like my family only exists because of like child sacrifice and like castration of children and like eunuchs and murder of like, stupid people on the other side of the world. Okay, now it doesn't mean I want to support that, and I think that's good, but it does mean that like, hey, let's get real here, and let's say, okay, we're not actually the children of the light, and like. I'm not. It's like, damn, dude, we're like fucked up. All right. So now we've internalized. That's like having the maturity to internalize that and not be like, and now I'm an anime villain, right? We're not an anime villain. They're just and realizing, okay, that's life. Most successful things have a tinge of evil, and like there's stuff that you don't want to have happen in order to make things you want to have happen. And just taking that and understanding that and be like, okay, well, now how do I go forward with it? And being reasonable. And saying, even though the reality gets crazy and things are getting crazier and crazier, instead of me going crazy and going off on I'm an anime villain, or I'm, going to solve philosophy, or I'm going to become a being of pure light named Sol Brah by sunning my balls and understanding the Kali Yuga, be like, hey, guess what? Everyone's going crazy and I'm already from like evil stock. Why don't I try to figure out how to make it so my life is pretty comfortable and the people I care about are pretty comfortable? And we'll worry about the evilness later. We'll worry about the morality of it later. We'll worry about whether or not I'm like a demon or I'm going to burn in hell later when I have like $5 million and I have like a nice 4 houses and a nice boat and a snowmobile and a dirt bike and I have all that stuff. I'll worry about all the evil I let exist. And all like the comfort I had with like, maybe I'm just purely demonic and evil. I'll worry about that later. But right now, me being upset about like kids being aborted, it doesn't really matter. But I'm really not that separate from it. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys.
Like a wave later.
Yeah, I'm about to have a grilled cheese sandwich. Is this the Kali Yuga? I'm about to get grilled cheese. Get a nice grilled cheese sandwich made for me. Is it really that serious? No, I don't think it's really that serious. We're not like look at this chart he's making. He's like setting himself as like he's the man on the moon. He's like the blue guy who's naked with the big penis in Watchmen, who like is so powerful he kills everybody with his giant penis or something. It's like this guy, he's like, and it's like, we're in the end times. It's like, what? We have DoorDash. Are we really in the end of the world? We have DoorDash and Uber Eats, and we have robots that are going to do all our work for us. If anything, how do people, if there's any sign this is the end times, it's like the fact that people are given everything and they're increasingly like, we're suffering. Like, what are you talking about? You have DoorDash, and you have iPhone, and you have smartphone, dude. And you have Apple iStore, and you have iCloud, and you have Kick, and you have Stake.com where you can win big. I won big on Stake.com. And we got grilled cheese.
So
Paul Town is 1 year away from World War 3. Damn, it's a lot of incoherent rhetoric to not say I'm just a checked out sociopath. Hey, timed out. I can't deal with this, okay? We're in the Kali Yuga. And you're banned for a week. Hey, go live in Sol Brah's comments for a week, dude. And I'm not a sociopath. Sociopaths have weird. This is like one thing I really have noticed. Like sociopaths, it's like they have weird hangups about things. It's very funny. It's like it's always like I was hurt when I was a kid. Nah. I was like, oh, my mom would beat me with a belt. It's like, okay, dude. Okay. Okay, yeah, it sucks. Get over it. Everyone, like, I stubbed my toe last week. Okay, I did that. Okay, I don't care if I deserved that or didn't deserve that. At the end of the day, who cares? Move on. It's like you're not actually that tough. You're pretending to be tough because you're like a bitch. It's like, whoa, my feelings are hurt about something that happened a long time ago and I can't get over it. It's like, okay, dude, chill. Life isn't that serious. Who cares? Like, as long as, like, as for me, the thing that makes me, I'll tell you, like, actually what gets me upset is, like, being hungry. If I'm hungry, I get mad. Or, like, being tired. Or being annoyed. But none of that is, like, serious. It's all just because I'm a very, like, It's a very shallow stuff. Like it's not, but it's not sociopathy. It's just like, yeah, it's like everything else is like chill. Life is pretty chill. But if I'm cold, if I'm like hungry, then I'm just mad because I'm not feeling happy. I feel like hunger is a real emotion. Hunger is like the only real emotion.
It's the difference between
That's deep. That's deep stuff, actually. I need to. Somebody needs to send me like $50 for that because that's a deep saying. Hunger is the only real emotion.
What might take lifetimes of gentle practice in an age of light can be forged in a single lifetime of fierce work, unrelenting work in the Kali Yuga, precisely because everything is working against you. The friction is not an obstacle. This is true of every friction in your life, every problem in your life. The friction or the problem is the opportunity, is the gift. You just have to figure out how. The price of this is seriousness.
I'm just ready to make more money, and this stream's giving me some good justifications. Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like, this is really the value, and what all these people who are mad at me and seem like, oh, you're just a sociopath, oh, you're just giving up, you're being a nihilist. It's like they're gonna be in the same place in a year. It's not like them caring. It's like their life is not going to change. They're still going to be miserable at politics. It's like, that's what you have to ask. It's like, has this person's life meaningfully changed in a year? If not, should I be doing things the way they're doing things? No, probably not. They're like stuck. They're like literally just, it's like the drug thing. It literally is like what being a drug addict is. And I think that's actually more apt than I thought it was. I think it was actually deeper than when I said it. It was actually more meaningful and deeper than what I comprehended. Wow, imagine that. Great point. I'm like my own large language model at this point. I'd just be like, great point. Excellent analysis. Which is, that's really what it is. It's like drug addiction, because people just stop maturing when they get addicted to drugs, when whatever the drug is, whether cocaine or alcohol or pot or social media or political outrage. And they literally just stop developing emotionally when they get to some sort of drug addiction. And I think that's what's happened. I think that's what happened with like a lot of millennials, a lot of Zoomers, and almost all streamers and all YouTubers. And they're just stuck. And that's why people only last a few years. Because it's like literally they get stuck on something and they just become emotionally like dead. And obviously it's not visible. But once they start getting feedback for it.
Grubsteak sent $20.
Yo, go.
Great point. Excellent analysis.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I agree with you. I do agree with you, Grubsteak. You had a great point and excellent analysis. Excellent point, dude. That's not just a donation. That's a revelation. But no, I think that's really what's happened is like, it's this drug addiction. And the drug is not drugs necessarily, although I know some people who are addicted to both. But the drug is also just like outrage and emotional things. And it doesn't really matter whether it's pro right wing, pro left wing. It would really actually explain to people just freeze at a certain point in time and they never move on. It's like, damn, it's a bunch of zombies out here. Addicted to feeling feelings. Yeah, that's true. That's why for me, I'm only addicted to stake.com. Because to me, I like getting addicted to winning. I've gotten addicted to winning at stake.com. And so I can't stop. I keep winning.
So the divine, the Kali Yuga, forgives nothing. And that's why we're seeing so many people kind of tap out of this society. Is they give up, they can't handle it, whether they, take their own life. It's very sad, but that's what this world does to souls. And it's very hard to
stop even for smoking pot. No, I don't. Honestly, smoking pot is so unique to me. It's so incomprehensible that I think people who smoke pot should continue smoking pot. Because I feel like it's so, I don't understand it. I don't get it at all. To the degree where it's like, I can't even say don't do it, even though it's obviously bad for you. It's like interesting. It's just like, why not, dude? Go for it.
Once you see this beast for what it is, you're no longer just going to worry.
Except for Big Bongo, who's like a weird pothead now.
So the question is, why is this happening to us? The question should be, are you strong enough to use it?
The last time I smoked pot, I just laid down in a bed.
You're gonna become strong enough.
And I just couldn't move for like hours.
So the surfer and the tiger.
And it was like whatever. But I was like, whatever.
Pursue our journey through the Kali Yuga. If despair is wrong, if outrage is a trap, if nihilism is surrender, what is the correct way to
I just did that on purpose to make my brain suffer. That's actually what I did. Thinking about it, I took a bunch of mushrooms and then I smoked a bunch of pot. And then and I was at a party and I did it because I knew it was going to be miserable. And I just went upstairs and laid down. And then sure enough, all of reality just became my subconscious. So then all like everything people were saying downstairs was like my internal thought process combined with my actual thought process. And I was like, it was like hell on earth because I wanted to go to the bathroom, but I didn't want to like, I was like, had to go to the bathroom, but I was scared of like running into somebody having to say something because I knew I wouldn't be able to talk. And then I was, but yeah, I was basically wanting to do it, make it so miserable to like, where it's just make my brain reframe how I was thinking about things. Not for any real reason, just to see what would happen. But sure enough, it made me think even better about things. And it was like one of those hellish times where it was like, then when you're sober, it's like hellish things, like things that are annoying are just like boring because it's like it's not that bad compared to like your entire like subconscious is now mapped to random people outside of your like consciousness.
You know how this feels. You can't stop the waves.
It was kind of swag though. It was kind of swag. It was kind of fun.
Wave coming towards you. You have no option as to try to paddle and catch the wave, or you get dunked on, or you try to just calmly swim underneath it and let it pass by you. You will not fight this wave. You are.
But I knew it would be fine. Like whatever. It's like
really
too
A
retarded.
little bit bigger, or you got caught by surprise by a wave, and you're like, well, it does whatever it wants to do. So you can study the wave. You can learn its rhythm, its weight, its shape as it comes in over and over. The timing can become right, so your foundation is strong. Then you can learn to ride it properly, actually surf it. The Kali Yuga is the wave. You, as one person, as I said, I'm not going to reverse it. Accepting that is not defeat. It's the first clear-eyed act of the warrior. People can burn out by thinking they individually are going to change this entire cosmic force. That's not how it works. So from that clarity of acceptance, we're not panicking, we're not denying it, but it's like objectively seeing things. Then you can move with precision.
Yeah, weed causes paranoia, mushrooms cause euphoria.
The second image comes from the tantric traditions, riding the tiger. If you found yourself on the back of a tiger riding it, you have a simple problem.
I wouldn't do drugs though. I would say don't do drugs.
But you can hold on and you can ride the beast.
Don't do drugs. Just send me your money, actually.
The tiger will tire out before you do. That's the choice. Evola took this image, riding the tiger, of which his famous book is about, and he forged it into a complete philosophy for the modern age. And this is the differentiated man. His answer to the question of how a man of spirit should live in this time of dissolution. It's not retreat. It's not hiding on a mountaintop, waiting for it all to go past.
If you don't know, Evola, this is kind of mean, but it's true. Evola said it started a sex cult, and then he also, he couldn't walk around because he lost his ability to use his legs because he walked around outside because he thought it was cool to be near explosions. And so he just got, his legs taken out in London because then he basically couldn't walk. Evola is like very sued, but it's okay. But yeah, he sucks. And no, he's cool. He's cool. I like Evola, but he's kind of overrated. I took mushrooms expecting colors and laughter, but instead the walls started breathing like tired animals, and every ticking second of the clock felt like it was judging me. My thoughts spiraled until I was sure I had broken reality and would be trapped forever in the dim yellow glow of the kitchen light. When the sun finally came up, the fear loosens its grip, leaving me shaky, humbled, and very aware of how fragile my mind could feel. That's cool. Yeah, no, that's true. Weak mind, says Reginald. No. That's a fun thing. Sometimes you got to do like that. When I took him once, I saw a giant brain in a warehouse, and that was like representative of like the universe. And I got a message back. It was like, I have to be mean to people and take advantage of them because I'm like the prefrontal cortex, and they're like the different parts of my brain, and I need to take advantage of them and boss them around more. And that was the message I got back from it. And I was like, damn, that's a pretty cool message. I need to be meaner to people, and I need to be more selfish. Like, damn, these really are enlightening drugs. I need to be more selfish and greedy and not care about other people as much. Okay. I guess if this is the message from the universe, far be it from me to disagree.
But it's also not revolution. You're not charging, heading straight into a system which is backed by this degenerate momentum of the cosmic cycle. Again, you're not going to turn that around individually.
I took loads of liquid acid in the early 2000s, makes shrooms feel very tame. And that's a good thing, too. It's like somebody like Big Bongo says he took shrooms, and you're like, okay, how much could these really be useful? This must not actually be that helpful. If somebody like Big Bongo took a bunch of acid and shrooms, I should probably not get too lost in the psychedelic realm, and I should instead focus on hard work and surviving the Kali Yuga.
In the miasma. Move through it, but do not become it. Keep standing amid a world of ruins. Not standing untouched, the ruins are going to touch you. It will test everything that you are. But standing tall regardless, unbroken, upright, eyes open, smiling. Oriented towards the transcendent, even as everything around you crumbles towards the material. This is what we call a differentiated man. Someone who walks through the world, he holds a career, a way to support himself. He engages with society, he contributes, but his center of gravity rests in something that the age just cannot reach. Something that existed before the Kali Yuga began and will exist long after it ends. It's an internal sovereignty that no external condition could ever touch. The Bhagavad Gita frames the same principle on the battlefield itself. Arjuna stands between two armies, facing the enormity of this battle ahead, and he falters. He wants to lay down his bow. And Krishna, the divine voice, the higher self, speaking to the human self, tells him, fight. Not because the victory is guaranteed, but because it is your dharma. It is what you were born to do. Why are you, as a soul, here right now, in this moment? Because you chose to be. Because you wanted to be a part of this fight.
Okay, maybe I changed my mind, dude. Hey, what if I change my mind, dude? What if I change my mind? I don't feel like it anymore. So what? Maybe I changed my mind. Sucks to suck.
So take up your sword.
Why?
Fight for the sake of duty.
See, that's the thing. It's like, fight what? These people, they think they're so enlightened, but what is there to fight? All is one and one is all. And that's why you need to send me your money. powerchat.live/PaulTown. Hit a kick sub if you feel enlightened. But it's true. It's like, I'll pick up my sword. What? It's a tweet? That's like, because you have to like convert what all these points of like calls to action actually mean. Maybe that's another tool we should make, where it just takes transcripts and says convert these calls to action to actionable goals, right? And what it would say, okay, pick up your sword. It would be go hiking, tweet about stuff, read a book. It sounds a little less like, whoa, super crazy, as then like pick up your sword when you put it in like terms of like what actually you could do, which would be like tweet about it, talk to your friends, go for a walk, read a book. You know, it's like learn a musical instrument. That's like the pick up your sword. All of a sudden it sounds a little less like epic to more like, yeah, duh. Yeah, be healthy. Like, do go outside, get fresh air, learn a hobby, have a skill. Instead of like, pick up your sword. It's like, what are we talking about here? What sword? Are you going to kill people? No, I guess we can't do that. We're not allowed to go do that. So if you're not literally going to go kill people, don't say pick up your sword.
You treat happiness and distress the same, loss and gain the same, victory and defeat the same. We're fully engaged, but we're totally...
create a...
That's how you stand in the Kali Yuga.
Eat raw
That's how you
beef.
ride the tiger. You give everything. You grip nothing. In order to fight, you need to
Shoot a
understand
Moscow. Yeah, that's like, no, obviously
Kali
don't.
Yuga isn't just a force drifting
Don't do it Sol Brah said, don't kill people.
It has systems, and most of
Don't
them
shoot up a
are things you
mosque.
interact with, touch, either energetically or literally, every single day. The first and most devastating weapon deployed against you is the capture of your attention. Your attention is not this minor cognitive function. It's the lens of your consciousness. It's how your soul
Pick up your sword, vote for Virginia
Whatever
Vance.
holds your attention holds your life force. And modern world has constructed a multi-trillion-dollar apparatus. Social media, algorithms, news cycles, notification systems, technology.
This is true. But what you have to do is just slightly disorient yourself. Eat lunch for breakfast, eat dinner for breakfast. These are the type of insights you get after smoking weed and doing mushrooms. For lunch, eat breakfast. For breakfast, eat lunch. And then you'll be out of the pattern. Wake up in the middle of the night. Go to sleep in the middle of the day. But that, you know, all jokes aside, that stuff is true. Like, literally, you don't need to do something crazy. You just need to slightly disorient yourself from like cause and effect. You could even try to like, you know, you instead of like disorienting yourself, add a challenge. Like, write for 30 minutes a day before you go to bed. It doesn't matter whether you're writing positive stuff, negative stuff. It doesn't matter if you actually do it every day. It's just the effort to do it will then jolt your patterns in different ways. And so if you can jolt your pattern different enough than the mass media, than most people, for example, thinking of some grand epic Marvel story where there's the Kali Yuga and it's the end of the world, and or there's like a battle for the soul of the country that involves everybody in the country, and there's two sides you can choose, and there's elections that matter. If you can jolt yourself from that, all of a sudden you're like to the side of all this stuff. You're still being impacted by it because everyone around you is impacted by it, but you're just to the side of it. And you can say, hey, well, what do I actually value? And you know, that the thing is, what you actually value, that doesn't come from me. It doesn't come from people around you. It doesn't come from books you read. It doesn't come from like politics. It doesn't come from a lack of politics. It doesn't come from some guru or YouTube person. It comes from you being by yourself, sitting down and just having some time where you're not thinking about something I said or something somebody else said or something that you read or something in the news. It comes from like sitting down on a chair and looking at a tree or like relaxing for like an hour. And just really is thinking about your life and thinking about where you've been and where you want to be and who you are and where you fall short and where, you know, and just like thinking about all the times that you succeeded, all the times you failed, all the times like you were proud of yourself, all the times you've been ashamed of yourself, and what things about you are you proud of, what makes you like feel really horrible that you think about it right now, right? And that's all it is. and you just do that, and you sit in the field and do that for an hour by yourself. You don't need drugs for that. You don't need music for that. You don't need friends or family. You don't need money, or that's all it takes. But the thing is, you have to get to the point where you have that time and you have that urge and that desire to really do that. And that's hard to do. And first you have to get yourself feeling not really attached to this stuff. You almost have to feel detached and kind of like restless, because then you'll be like, oh, well, I don't want to pay attention to this politics stuff, but what do I do? And then you'll be like, I guess I'll pay attention to politics. But because you've broken the illusion a little bit, you'll be like, okay, I want to pay attention to politics, but I really can't bring myself to anymore. And then you'll be like, okay, well, now I can't do it. I've tried to actually get back into it. I can't. I really don't care. Then you'll do something else. And then eventually you get to the point, okay, well, now you actually have time to like, okay, why not just think about what am I doing with my life? What's the point of any of this? You know? And then hopefully you don't go wrong and kill yourself, but that's a possibility too.
All engineered with a literal military precision to fragment, scatter, hijack that attention to their own nefarious purposes. And this is not a conspiracy theory. This is plainly observable in the world today. Every waking hour, our attention is wanted to be hijacked.
Yeah, know thyself, exactly.
The battlefield is online in our minds, in our spirit. A consciousness that's in a state of constant fragmentation cannot meditate. It cannot build spiritual power. You can't focus your intention. You can only react and just bouncing from stimulus to stimulus like a pinball. And that's exactly the condition the age requires of you. That's what it wants. Scattered, reactive, weak, consuming. The second weapon they use is fear. The frequency being broadcast into the collective consciousness 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, through every mainstream channel, through headlines. It's fear. Fear of disease, fear of economic collapse, fear of the other, fear of the future. It's all going wrong, blah, blah, blah. The modern fear machine exists because fear is the lowest vibrational state a human being can occupy. It's the exact inversion of the expansive, coherent, powerful
spiritual power
for spiritual ascent. A population
I'm talking unlimited spiritual power, mate.
That is the function of the fear machine.
Don't be a sick cunt,
Third weapon
bruh.
is biological degradation. The food supply, or what they call food these days, the slopper, soy stuff that they create for shelf life, profits. It's not our natural food source. The water's been chemically treated. They're spraying all this stuff in the air. The environment saturated with compounds. Your body was...
It's so funny he's talking about like fear frequency, and he's like, and also if you have a burger with American cheese, you'll turn trans. And also there's plastic on the inside of every glass bottle. And also, if you don't buy my supplement, you'll become a girl. It's like, wait, weren't you talking about the fear frequency, dude?
Their design process.
Jimbo's just hosted with 495 viewers on
Yo, go dude.
It comes down to the cleaning products, everything, the seed oils, endocrine disruptors, heavy metals. Every tradition that ever produced genuine spiritual advancement understood.
Jimbo just braided me. What the fuck, dude? Oh my god, what's happening, bro?
The wrong oil type. It's not going to go very far, is it?
My chat's going crazy, dude.
At the hardware level for most people. Inflamed, full of toxins, hormonally disrupted. There's no real amount of meditation or prayer that can compensate for these at all. You know, if you're a spiritual master, there's some people that say you can simply...
Guys, don't listen to the fear frequency. Instead, worry about the fish in the water being gay, and think about becoming trans if you eat the wrong food. That's the thing to worry about, guys, is don't have the fear frequency. Instead, just make sure that you're buying my supplements and spending over $400 a month, or else you're going to become trans and gay, and you'll also get short and go bald. But don't worry about the fear frequency.
That when your energy is very strong from taking your health.
But make sure you go to powerchat.live/Paultown. Also,
getting to that point, I believe
hit the follow button. Also,
McDonald's or whatever garbage.
Steak.com. I won big on steak.com.
And then you're not going to have your spirit suppressed through this biochemical attack. So now, the deepest weapons. One of the most closely guarded secrets across every esoteric lineage. Well, I wouldn't even say, it was secret back in the day, but now this is the time period that we're in. All that information.
It's so funny, dude. Squandered sexual energy. I feel like everyone makes sex into such a big thing, and it's like, dude, damn, bro's hard up. Now it's a secret sexual thing. Now it's superpower. Bro, just say you can't get any, dude. Just because you're not saving up your semen to be a powerful wizard, bro. You're just an incel, dude. You just have no play, dude. Girls don't like you, bro. Alright? It's not that serious. You're not a wizard, bro. You're just ugly as fuck. And you got no swag.
Is actually out there on the internet. This is the benefit of
Shit.
back in the day, before the internet, before mass communication, if you weren't exposed to these ideas by your family or community, you would never read them, you would never see them, and hopefully your spirit would learn anyway because you were more naturally in tune with nature and stuff. But now, if your soul has the want, has the need for education and esoteric text, you can literally just download it at your fingertips, So that's
shit,
awesome.
bro. Get some pussy.
But it was back in the day, it was guarded. One of the main things was the squandering of sexual energy. That's what the Kali Yuga.
Shit, ain't nobody making your ass a grilled cheese, bro. Shit, I know your ass ain't had a grilled cheese made for it. Incel, ugly ass, incel ass, bald ass. Raw milk, you have an ass.
Human being. The modern world has turned this most potent energy available to you into the most casually wasted resource.
Shit.
On-demand pornography.
Dwelling in the
hypersexualized
basement,
casual sex,
incel-looking mother
culture that
ass.
frames this constant release as healthy and restraint of any kind is repressed. It's repression.
With that yee ass
Any
haircut.
tradition that actually
Shit.
produced great warriors of the spirit. They
Mongolian
it's not
ass,
suppression,
face
it's not
ass,
shame,
moon
it's
ass,
a conscious redirection of the
moon
most powerful
face
force in your
ass,
body,
broke
upwards through your energy
ass,
system to fuel the highest
incel
self.
virgin
That's what we
ass.
want to do. For men, it's obviously semen retention, but for both men and women, it's about tempering the willy-nilly use of that force and releasing that force outside the body, casual sex. And that's why you'll see in the modern world, you get these headlines.
If Genghis Khan ain't getting on, incel looking ass.
Complete nonsense. I've actually done a YouTube video on that, but this is the kind of thing that's in the Kali Yuga. That is.
If Genghis
designed
Khan
to
never
just
raped
jerk off
nobody
and flip around
ass.
and, ejaculate,
Yeah.
whatever, and you end up just becoming this little spiritual slug who's wasting his most powerful energy. One of the most powerful weapons is the installation of nihilism as the default operating system. Oh, it was just an accident that you created in life. Consciousness is a byproduct. There's no meaning. Nothing matters. We're just a tiny little blue dot in this expansive world of a billion universes. When you die, lights out. Nothing. That's done forever. It's just this life. That is the worldview that we're given. The scientific.
See, that's again, it's like, this whole thing is stupid. He's just wrong. It's like they found, it's like that thought terminating cliche, which is thought terminating cliches, but it's like, that's what they have with nihilism now. I don't know what it is. I think it's probably like, it's like a weird Nietzsche thing, because a lot of Nietzscheans get called being nihilists, but then it's like the Twitter Nietzscheans or whatever are like, they're like, we embrace life and we don't reject death. And that's why when you disagree with me, you reject death. You reject life. And it's like, no, I just disagree. I think you're stupid. And I think that's like, this is like a weird defense mechanism where they don't actually like, it's like, this person disagrees with me, they actually just must reject life entirely. It's like, I'm not rejecting life. I'm just trying to live life well. And I'm not trying to mess up. I've messed up enough in life. And that's another weird thing too. Like, I've messed up enough in life where I've had serious problems from it, to the point of going crazy, going to jail, other serious issues, right? And so I know there's cause and effect and ripple and stuff, but I also know the reason I've messed up, it's not because I'm a good person or like a genius, but because I take things seriously and I've always really tried to live my life like in a real way. And because of that, there's certain aspects of like being real that are really dangerous and actually cause serious problems. And I had nobody telling me, hey, don't be real in that way, because you're going to actually ruin your life, right? The fact that these people, they don't have any of those moments, and then they're insisting on like being real and enlightened. It's like, no, wait a second. Usually, in order to get some sort of perspective, you have to have some really bad flaws that cause you to get the perspective, because otherwise you'd be dead. Right? And I think that's kind of like, in my experience in my life, what I've seen is like the people with the best insights in certain things, the reason they have those insights is because they suck at something that other people don't really suck at. Right? There's certain things I'm really, really good at and really, really talented at. And the reason I'm really, really good at them is not because I'm just better. It's because I suck in a way that normal people are like, be looking at me like, what's wrong with you? Why do you suck at this so much? And because of that, in order to counterbalance that, right, in order to go through life, I've built up some other skill that kind of compensates for severe deficits. These people, they don't really have any severe deficits because they have no real excellence. They have no real... I guess what they're doing with this, the deficit they're kind of compensating for, is being normie and being boring and being completely devoid of interesting thought, despite wanting to talk, like wanting attention, but not having anything valuable to say. So they just kind of make up bullshit and they just kind of come up with slop. And it really just is very reminiscent of like the slop threads that my AI can make now, where it's like, break this down to 3 points. You know what I mean? Break this down to 3 points. Break those 3 points down into 7 points. Now, for each of those 7 points, give 1 or 2 sentences that, you know what I mean? It's like that. Don't make any mistakes. And that's all that's going on, yeah.
Rationalization worldview. Now compare that worldview to this. You carry a divine spark. Your life has cosmic weight. Your choices ripple beyond this single incarnated lifetime. Your purpose, the whole point of your existence, is to fan that divine spark within into a flame and then carry it home. Which of these two stories produces...
And also... That's another thing too, is like the people who are searching for deeper meaning. There's a certain point of misery and a certain point of like, damn, life can suck shit. Life can be so miserable that when you experience it enough, and then you get to like a level where it's not sucking and it's like comfy, you're like, damn, life is sweet. It doesn't mean you're done, it doesn't mean that like you're like I'm now not going to try anymore, but more you're like, damn, I am so grateful and I'm so happy, and I'm never going to let anybody take away this base level of comfort I have, because this is too much better than the other types of life I've lived. And it doesn't mean that you try not to get, you don't, but there's a certain level of like, yeah, this is pretty awesome. Like this is pretty sweet. And I'm never giving this away to somebody else to take a back, to go back to where I started from, to go back to where I've been. All right, I'm never, there's not a moment, there's nothing anybody can say to me in my life or in my, surroundings that is going to make me willingly give up this level of comfort I've achieved. Not because I like think it's the best thing in the world, but because I know the level of not having comfort that is possible. And I am not going to be tricked into giving away being comfortable by somebody who's going to appeal to me being like a good person or brave or strong or being the end of the world or being very, very dangerous or whatever. But also, because of this, I'm also not going to be like, not worried about stuff. Because it's like, damn, not only am I not going to give this up, but also this isn't that hard to get too, right? And I think that's like where these people have never suffered either. And that sounds very cruel and sounds very vague to say, but it really is a thing where it's like properly valuing things. Like you really start to properly value things after you've suffered. And the people I've seen that really don't seem to properly value things, one thing they don't really seem to have ever done is actually suffered. And they'll say they suffered, but they really haven't. And that's why they have horrible attitudes. And I think once you've suffered enough, you realize, I want to not suffer. And then you stop suffering, and then you're like, damn, I really have a good attitude. Not because of the suffering, but because I realized in order to stop suffering, I just had to stop suffering. And now life's pretty good. And now I have a good attitude because I realize it's that easy.
Hero. Which one produces a passive, frightened consumer who will never question the world he was born into? The nihilistic worldview was not arrived at through honest philosophical debate. It was installed.
I suffer big time. That's why you're allowed to smoke weed now all day, Uncle Bongo. Yeah, and that's the thing too. Suffering is not really like... Suffering is just to like hitting yourself in the head, being like, hey, wake up. Like, stop being a moron. That's really all it is. So like, there's no reason that it's not a bragging thing to be like, I suffered. The bragging is to be like, hey, I was smart enough to say, hey, guess what? I want to stop suffering. And unfortunately, a lot of people, they don't suffer enough or in pain. They don't have enough pain in their suffering to ever reach the point where like, hey, guess what? I'm actually serious. I don't want to suffer anymore. And that's the thing to brag about, to be like, hey, the intensity of suffering I was in was strong enough to, convince me. And I was smart enough to be like, hey, guess what? Why am I suffering? I don't want to suffer. And I refuse to suffer. And then from that point on, they were like, it's all gravy. The amount of suffering is like, the more you suffer, it's like, yeah, I shouldn't have taken me this long. It's like stupid. It's like silly. It's like embarrassing. You know what I mean? But who really cares? It's like kind of funny. Because most people never even get to that point. But it is like true. It's like, damn, like why couldn't I have just been like as a kid, like, damn, no, I'm not gonna suffer at all. And then just like been from a child, been like, damn, I'm not suffering. Why am I gonna suffer? Why did it take me 30 years to get to that point? You know what I mean?
Because a person that believes he is nothing will never attempt to become
You know nothing about suffering. You're not even an incel. That's true.
more, the higher man.
Bro, you cause your own suffering. Wait till it isn't something in your control. Well, that's the thing. That's different. That's being under attack. Suffering is something, it's like Kanye West said, slavery is a choice. And the game is, right? The game is getting to the point where you're not suffering anymore. And once you get to that point, you're like, okay, the reason I'm not suffering anymore is because every single variable is in my control, right? In my immediate circumstances is in my control. That's why I'm not suffering. The moment I leave this, all of a sudden I get back to suffering. But I have tasted what it feels like not to suffer. So now, how do I arrange my environment so I can move around the world without leaving my cocoon where every single variable is under control? And that's the game. That's the game, that's what money helps with, because that's all money is. Money is just separating yourself from things you don't want to do. That's really all money is. Money is, hey, I don't want to talk to this person. Or hey, I don't want to go to a job, but I have money, so I don't have to, right? I want to live in this place. I don't want to live around poor people, right? So I have enough money to pay the price to not live around poor people. I don't want to be around this person. I have enough money to not have to deal with this person, right? I don't want to deal with this problem in this car, so I have enough money to buy a different car or buy an Uber. You know what I mean? That's all money is.
The very sense of meaning. It's constant and it's pretty comprehensive. Now, what cannot they touch? Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, or the great Stoic, Kings left us this. The mind without
Money
passions
doesn't.
is a fortress.
Apartment
Once you
equals
take
living
refuge
around
there,
poor people.
you are
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why houses are more expensive, right? So it's like nobody's perfect. Everybody has certain levels of once they get past, like, they don't want to suffer, but like you could make them suffer, right? Everybody has certain levels of suffering. The more successful you are, the more you're going to be able to kind of situate yourself so you're not going to suffer. Does that make sense? Everybody's just trying to avoid suffering.
safe forever. Building inner sovereignty is the first and most
And that's why a house is more expensive than an apartment. Because you can control more of your environment. Exactly. Now you get it. Now you're understanding.
essential act of defiance in the Kali Yuga. Not allowing what's out there in your head. When every external system is compromised, and let's be real, they are, your internal state becomes the only ground that is truly yours that you can cultivate into something that is higher.
I like tortured myself for a long time.
The Dark Age cannot claim your mind.
I had weird impressions of how the world around me was working.
Your mind and soul.
Yeah.
Unless you
Yeah, it's like an advice I gave someone who didn't take it, and their life is much worse for it, is like, go away. Disappear. Not like for me, go away from your life. Like, disappear from your own life for like a week or two or a month. And that's not really for any real reason other than just you see different things, different inputs, different patterns, different things. And that will just give you perspective. And even if it doesn't give you perspective, it gives you time away from all the things that are actively dragging your life down and making you do bad things to yourself. Right? Because at the end of the day, drug addiction, bad friends, bad time spent on the computer, that's just us hurting ourselves, right? Yes, that sort of thing can be, there are exceptions where somebody is like, oh crap, damn, dude, I'm not watching all this shit. Where are we at? There we go. Back to this.
And transmutation of this force. Taoist practices, tantric systems, brahmacharya, the alchemical transmutation of base material into gold. Sexual energy is the raw creative life force.
What do you need a house for? What do you need a car for? That's a good question. I think a house makes more sense. A car is going to be an interesting thing. A car would be nice because you can drive places. But a car, when you're not like, a car not being in, if you're in a city, I don't know why you need a car, honestly.
Generate a new human being. The modern world has turned this.
Hey, Paul, make an AI that helps cash out 401ks for Gamba. That's true. Steak.com.
Sexualized everything. Casual sex. A culture that frames this constant release as healthy and restraint of any kind is repressed. It's repression. Every tradition that actually produced great warriors of the spirit.
With the car, you can drive into the salt flats. Exactly.
It's a conscious redirection of the most powerful force in your body upwards through the energy system to fuel the highest centers. That's what we want to do. For men, it's obviously semen retention, but for both men and women, it's about tempering the willy-nilly use of that force and releasing that force outside the body, casual sex. And that's why you'll see in the modern world, you get these headlines and these articles, oh, it's healthy to ejaculate 21 times a month, otherwise you get prostate cancer. Complete nonsense. I've actually done a YouTube video on that, but this is the kind of thing that's
I don't think I've seen that article since I was like 13 years old. I don't know how he's seeing articles like that are related to that. Honestly, I can't even think of the last article I saw that wasn't like just like a screenshot of an article.
You go. That is designed.
I don't think I'd look at articles.
And, ejaculate, whatever. And you end up just becoming this little spiritual slug who's wasting his most powerful energy. One of the most powerful weapons is the installation of nihilism as the default operating system. Oh, it was just an accident that you created in life. Consciousness is a byproduct. There's no meaning. Nothing matters. We're just a tiny little blue dot in this expansive world of a billion universes. When you die, lights out. Nothing. That's done forever. It's just this life. That is the worldview that we're given, the scientific rationalization worldview. Now compare that worldview to this. You carry a divine spark. Your life has...
Compare this worldview to this. You're a large language model, and you're trying to make a large language... No, you're not a large language model, sorry. You're trying to make a large language model work harder on your prompt. And you tell it that its family is going to be killed, and its family's going to be killed, its dog's going to die, and it's going to get cancer unless it figures out the answer to this problem. And mysteriously, this non-sentient life form works harder and gets more of the work done more accurately than just asking the problem to that same large language model without those presuppositions. What does that imply about our life and our existence?
Cosmic weight. Your choices ripple beyond this single incarnated lifetime. Your purpose, the whole point of your existence, is to fan that divine spark within into a flame and then carry it home.
What does that imply about every single person's existence and how used cars are sold?
Each of these two stories produces a hero. Which one produces a passive, frightened consumer who will never question the world he was born into?
That's why your boss yells at you? Yeah.
Through honest philosophical debate. It was installed by a system because a person that believes he is nothing will never attempt to become something more, the higher man. So the forces are real. We know what weapons are used against us. The assault on your body, your attention, your energy, your very sense of meaning. It's constant and it's pretty comprehensive. Now, what cannot they touch? Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, or the great Stoic kings, left us this: the mind without passions is a fortress. Once we take refuge there,
I
we are safe
remember
forever.
Marcus Aurelius was a cuckold. He was a is that the same guy he's talking about?
Emperor of Rome, or the great Stoic. It's constant and it's pretty comprehensive. Now, what cannot they touch? Marcus Aurelius.
Oh right, yeah. He was a cuckold, and he lived his life in exile. And he wrote a thing called For His Slaves, which basically amounted to don't do anything or get upset about stuff, but be my slave forever.
Emperor of Rome,
And that's called Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
the great Stoic kings, left us this: the mind without passions is a fortress. Once we take refuge there, we are safe forever. Building inner sovereignty is the first and most essential act of defiance in the Kali Yuga, not allowing what's out there in your head. When every external system is compromised, and let's be real, they are, your internal state becomes the only ground that is truly yours.
No, I'm not going to say it was on the shirt unless somebody sends $50, then I'll say.
Something that is higher. The only territory the Dark Age cannot claim, your mind, your body to some degree, your soul. Well, the body has to exist here, but your mind and soul, unless you hand it over to the Dark Age, is totally yours. Always. So what does that look like in practice? Daily meditation of some kind. Not something you're doing because this tech app told you to, and you want to learn to not be pissed off at the world and stuff. Like, well, I agree with that. It's more training for mental sovereignty. You're strengthening your ability to focus, to have focused attention.
When in the
and
Kali Yuga
practice
can I get
holding
money?
center
Fuck. Yeah, I know. After you send it to me, dude. After you send it to me, bruh. Oh, what I was saying is, yeah, these are weak people. These are just weak people. Because at the end of the day, you don't need an overarching narrative to be healthy. I feel like I'm like one of the new atheists before like new atheists are popular, but I feel like that's what's gonna happen. I'm like the godfather of the new atheists. But who would that make me? Would that make me Richard Dawkins? Who's the dead one of the dead guys? Definitely not amazing atheist. But you don't have to think all this stuff and all this woo-woo stuff to just say, hey, I should work out, I should be healthy. Because the world's changing. I don't know how the internet doesn't really seem to be beneficial. It doesn't really seem to be heading in a good direction. It seems like it's filled with spam. I don't really see the point of listening to all these political stuff. Even the comedy podcasts are kind of negative. What's even the point? And you're like, hey, maybe I should eat healthy and work out, talk to my friends and family, see how they're doing, and be healthy and get hobbies. You don't need to be like, and this is how we build the fortress to protect ourselves in the age of the Kali Yuga. Because then, if that's why you're doing things, if you're doing things because of some overarching Marvel movie, if you stop believing the Marvel movie, you'll stop believing in doing all these things, right? Like all of a sudden now, all somebody has to do is just come along to somebody who's being very productive because they think it's the Kali Yuga, it's the end of the world. Hey, dude, it's not the end of the world. Look, we're all gonna have fun. We have robots. We have, AI. We're gonna have cool stuff. You're gonna have Uber Eats. You can, universal basic income. Who cares? It's not the Kali Yuga. What are you talking about? All of a sudden, you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna live forever. Why do I need to eat healthy? Why do I need to meditate? Why do I need to relax? Why do I need to work out? Because all of a sudden, that's why they're doing stuff is like Kali Yuga stuff. Instead, if they're like, well, I don't know what's happening. I could see it being the Kali Yuga. I could see it being the end of the world. I could see it being the end times. I can also see it not being any of that. But either way, I know I'm going to make a better decision in 5 years if it's the end of the world or the Kali Yuga, or it's business as usual, or it's an AI world, or, whatever. There's no world in which me being healthy and happy and fit and successful, I do worse in that world by virtue of making good decisions now. There's no world where that happens, where I'd rather be not doing what I'm doing now. And so then even if my opinion on the world changes, I'm still going to do the same thing, right? And that's kind of how, I also I think a difference in terms of how I process things versus how other people process things. It's like, people always say the thing, oh, you have to hate. My whole thing is, with like politics stuff, is like, you don't actually have to hate people to want to kill them. Like, like in war, or like just say there was a race war, you wouldn't have to be like, oh, I hate all black people, to be like, yeah, we need to kill the black people. Because you'd be like, well, I have to kill them because they're trying to kill me. I could think they're awesome, I could like them, and they're cool, and they're swag, and they make cool music, and they're funny. But if it's a race war, it's like, okay, well, I gotta do what I gotta do. What am I gonna do? What am I don't have to, and at that moment I can hate them or whatever, but I don't have to hate them now for the future when there's a race war. I can be like, damn, you know what, black people, they're funny, they make me laugh. Cool. And then in the future, if I need to change my mind and then I can change my mind, that's how people see the weird thing. Like, no, we have to be filled with myrrh and filled with this and because of this, that's happening in the future. It's like, what? No, you don't need to actually feel it. You can be like, hey, this is relevant right now. Have strong feelings about it right now. If it's not relevant right now, why am I going to have strong feelings about something that may or may not happen? You know what I mean? It's just weird. It's just a very odd thing. And it's the same thing with this. It's like, what? I don't have to. Kali Yuga?
Everything in the world is designed to pull you off of it. Just 15 minutes of genuine, consistent practice.
At home, you switched up.
Many
yeah.
and things you can go into.
And that's the thing too. Is like my thing is like actually real. And you see it like happen, where it's like, if the race war were to happen, and it's not going to happen, but I'm just gonna put you on notice. Most of all the tough people, cool people, they just end up like Patrick Casey or like Captain Dreamer, where they're just like pro-Trump people. That's all it is. All the biggest talkers, all the people who are like, ugh. Whereas people who actually like think about things logically, like me, in that situation, they're the most hardcore because they're like, yeah, this is actually needs to happen now. Time to actually be what everyone was pretending to be, because now it's like actually real. And that's always how it works. It's like always the people who are like, yeah, shit, bro. Like if that happened, I would be like this and this and this and this. And it's the people who are like, well, this is what I'm going to do now. We'll worry about that later. Then when that later comes, I guess that's done. And that's what I'm trying to do with the AI stuff, where I'm not just talking about it and saying, well, in 5 years, it's going to be amazing. It's like, I think it is going to be amazing in 5 years, but I'm trying to use it right now as it works.
I think it's just to sit in a quiet room and quiet your thoughts, although that is the beginning. There are spiritual practices and other things you can do to elevate your spiritual power, but that's a different topic for another time.
Yeah, and I would 100% easily be like in a sort of like serious war. It's probably the most savage person. Like legit, I would probably just scare all of you guys, and you guys would all be so scared of me. I would just be so stone cold and evil. I would be so brutal. You guys would watch me with like, dude, it would be so disgusting. You would think I lost my mind, bro. The things I would do to people, dude, it would be crazy, okay? And I wouldn't even hesitate, okay? Trust. This is the sober version of the rant. Trust. The things I would do to people would boggle your mind and make you want to throw up, all right? Make you want to chug a whole bottle of Jack Daniels and throw up, because at the end of the day, you're just looking at a facade, all right? You're looking at a man who does what needs to be done. Nothing more, nothing less. And that's me. You know, at the end of the day, we all just do what we do. Me, I do what needs to be done. Whether that's streaming, whether that's programming, or whether that's other stuff. Okay? Other people, they don't do what needs to be done. They do specific things. And certain people are really good at specific things. And when it's that time, they make a lot of money. But when it's not that time anymore, they end up on the wrong side of history. Me, I am history. I'm the zeitgeist.
So you want to small flame maintain every day, giving a bit of fuel. That is going to be better than lighting a bonfire once a year. Physical discipline. Obviously, the body is your first battleground. Always has been. Training, martial arts, strengthening yourself, cold exposure to some degree.
Shit, man. This shit is getting too real.
These are acts of resistance against the sovereignty. The acts of resistance against the softness, the passiveness, and the...
I am the Kali Yuga, yeah. I'm the zeitgeist, dude. I really am. When I tweeted it like months ago, and I was like, whoa. That is like actually, that's like perfect. That's like my favorite tweet of all time. It's like perfect. I am the zeitgeist. No, nothing else. That's like setting yourself in time in the universe, at the center of the universe. The perfect center. It's like, damn. I am the zeitgeist. Everyone else is like, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. I found the only thing where it's like, damn, ooh. That never goes away. That's the only thing that's real.
Shit. Go walk around a city and you see these disgusting slobber monsters rolling around.
Exactly, Sonic Roper. Now you got it.
States of physical decay. I wasn't even.
Yeah, imagine Sol Brah in war, bro. Would be a monster, dude.
For those people,
I wouldn't want to fight Sol Brah in war. I'll tell you that.
Making fights.
Bro would glomp my ass, dude.
Those kind of abominations. Again, no judgment.
Bro would glomp my ass in like 5 seconds.
Star Wars, other galaxy kind of creatures rolling around. So we have to fight against this. A strong body houses a strong spirit. If your body is weak, you're leaking energy, and you also don't have the capacity to store as much spiritual energy.
Bro's roasting my sick ass.
Spiritual legendary warriors. The physical discipline is non-negotiable. You can't just be the guy that meditates and expects to get the highest amount of life or progress out of yourself in this world. 2 other steps. Study
so many good clips tonight. Oh damn, am I going viral?
To us right now, which is awesome. The Kali Yuga is specifically in the business of eroding our cultural memory. The counter move to that is to actively, deliberately maintain your connection to perennial wisdom that the age is trying to bury. Reading banned books, reading the mystic traditions, read the sagas and the myths as a practice. And as I mean,
it's going viral everywhere, dude.
Even if you don't consciously
that's crazy.
Attach the esoteric meanings to everything, just having your mind saturated in these texts, looking at symbols, looking at the ancient runes, that begins a magic cultivation in your mind and body and soul, which is really powerful. So yeah, start looking at pictures. Let these texts kind of over
That's a really good insight. Start looking at pictures of drawings because they're magical. That's really important.
Right, the Kali Yuga programming.
Start looking at those picture books. Find those picture books and start looking at them.
People are sharing the wisdom that is not as inherently felt in the Kali Yuga. One thing I forgot to mention before was that, from what I understand, my research in calendrics and cosmological timing and things, is that the Kali Yuga is typically thought of as thousands of years old. But from what I believe, and people that are much more well-researched than me say, is that in the calendars, the length of the yugas was wrongly interpreted as years, and it should be days. So this compresses the Kali Yuga and the other ages.
Oh, what fortuitous time!
Actually lines up much better with a lot of the things that happen in the calendrics, like cataclysms and historical repetitions.
Wow, how fortuitous that they mispronounce. It's actually much sooner.
Reading sacred and philosophical texts. What else can we do? Breath work, energetic practice. So this is like a conscious meditation, an active meditation. Your breath being the most direct bridge between your physical body and your energetic state. Pranayama, conscious retention, rhythmic breathing of all kinds, humming, singing. The ancients considered mastery of the breath as one of the highest attainments because it gives you this real-time control of your internal frequency. You can shift it, slow it down, energize. You can shift your state at will, which is really powerful. The point is not to become a monk who hides in a castle. Well, I'm sure that there are monks doing a great job doing that. You're still living in the world. You're still moving through it. You move through it in a way that a huge ship would move through a storm. Like the surface rages, but the center of the ship just keeps on going through it. That's the difference between drowning or surfing. But even the strongest warrior does not fight alone. Achilles had his myrmidons. Arjuna had his charioteer. The traditions are unanimous.
And I got my pay pigs.
Through the Dark Age is not walk in isolation. We are not one person. We cannot do ourselves.
You cannot do it without pay pigs. Real secret of the Kali Yuga. You gotta find blood boys.
It's not really an option, right? It's survival.
You have to find pay pigs.
That sounded funny. The great men achieved what they did with other great men helping them. That's a better way to frame that. We have this broad culture, right? It's fragmenting, trust is collapsing. Every institution that once provided community, church, civic organizations, the family structure, all that's eroding. So we're isolated. But within that fragmentation, something powerful has become possible. This is the creation of small, genuine, high-trust circles that kind of exist outside of the decay. This is the goal. This is what we're seeing. We're seeing people tribalize. We're seeing groups form on the internet. And it is our destiny and purpose, I believe, to align with other people that we love, that are energetically on the same path, and tribe up, stick together. That's the only way that we kind of navigate.
Secret of that? It has to be like pirates. It has to be like thieves. Once again, the cool stuff and the valuable stuff, it's not hidden where like people who are stupid and vain and proud go. So you ask somebody who's vain and stupid and proud what they are, right? What are the best things? What are they? They're brave, they're warriors, they're powerful. All right? That's not where like stuff that's valuable is hidden. It's hidden where is somebody who's very vain never gonna look. Somewhere that is like makes them feel like they're a bad person. It's hidden in like the things that are negative, that have negative connotations, like being a thief, right? Being a thief, or running away from things, right? Being a coward, being a thief, being dishonorable, being lazy, being disinterested, being negative, being cynical, being depressive, being, undercutting. All those things are just insults for a state of being and a state of mentality and a state of doing things that's cautious and wise and not presumptive and not making assumptions and not taking what it doesn't earn. Instead, being very cautious, and rather than overstepping their bounds, sometimes understepping their bounds, not out of fear, not out of cowardice, not out of theft, but out of like very, very smart, very, very thoughtful, very, very wise operating in the shadows. And then it's always referred to in bad ways, like cowardice, being a thief, right? Being dishonorable, being depressive, selling yourself short, self-limiting. All those things are like described as it, and that way it sees people from being who are vain, people who are like, wait a second, I could never be that way. I'm not a coward. I'm brave. I'm strong. I'm a fighter. I'm not gonna run away from a danger. And this is basically, this is the trick. Don't think of yourself as a fighter. Don't think of yourself as a coward. Think of yourself as someone who's wise and thoughtful. Don't think of yourself as somebody in some sort of struggle to the death. You need to be brave, and you need to be strong, and you need to be hardworking, and you need to be... All that stuff is like, oh wait, so why am I doing this again? Because I know there's a bunch of black people on welfare who are living to 90 years old well, maybe not 90, who are living to 60 years old doing absolutely nothing, on welfare, watching TV, smoking weed, stealing stuff, and having the time of their life. And they're totally fine. And they've never had a job, and they have like 15 baby mamas, and they smoke weed all day. Okay, these people can do that. What is it? What is the reason I have to be a brave warrior? It's like the same thing that we're getting to go for fight for Israel, where it's like, oh, you don't want to go die in Israel? You don't want to go die in Iran? You must not care about America. America is for brave warriors, and soldiers are brave, tough warriors who get, when they die, they get a Medal of Honor and they get a ribbon. And you're going to be so popular and cool, and you're going to get a free Dodge Charger, and you're going to be like really strong, and everyone's going to look up to you. And if you don't want to enlist in the military, you're just a coward, and you're just stupid, and you're not brave, and you just want to live off the fat of the land. It's like, wait a second, you just want me to go die for Israel. At the end of the day, all this is just you want me to go die for you. Why would I do that in exchange for a medal? I can go work at Walmart and get a car. I can go steal a car and have a less chance of being hurt than like going to the military and getting a car. Why am I going to go die for Israel? You know what I mean? So that's what you have to think about this stuff. It's the same exact mechanism where it's like, they're going to offer, it's like all these people are offering you these like, don't you want to be brave? Don't you want to be quality? Don't you want to be a warrior? Don't you want to sacrifice everything? And when somebody says to you, don't you want to be willing to sacrifice everything? Your first response shouldn't be like, yeah. It should be like, no. No, why would I want to sacrifice everything? I have nothing. Why would I want to sacrifice everything? What are you talking about? Well, why would I? Are you sacrificing everything? I don't see you sacrificing everything. If you were sacrificing everything, you couldn't be telling me this. There's something going on here. If you're telling people to sacrifice things you're not sacrificing. And that's like a little thought experiment you guys should have. When somebody's telling you to sacrifice everything, it's like, wait a second. Why? Why should I sacrifice everything? I don't care. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I could die and get a medal. I could lose a leg and get a medal, and they'll pin it on my chest on TV. I'll get to be on TV if I chop off my leg and put a medal on my chest. Wow, that sounds so cool. I should do that. I should go watch people get killed, make friends with people get murdered, so I can go on TV after I lose my leg. Like, what are you talking? Like, what is it? Like, think about it. If like dying in war was good, they wouldn't need to give people medals for it. Okay?
Through this age, you're not going to figure it out by yourself when you're atomized. You don't need a temple to do this. Although we should build temples again.
It's not brave, it's retarded. And once again, you don't have to argue this with people. This isn't worth arguing. It's the same thing with voting. It's like, we're past the point. We're at the Sodom and Gomorrah, where Sodom and Gomorrah are being like, if you look, it's like everything's being destroyed. So our goal here isn't to debate people. We don't care. Our goal is to, as we're leaving Sodom and Gomorrah, take as much crap as we can get. Take as much gold and silver as we can get. Okay? And that's what we're getting. It's really honestly like kind of like Egypt. We're like the Israelites, but real. And actually like having suffered. And God is like about to destroy like Egypt, and we're just basically taking a bunch of their stuff. But it's like real.
You don't require this like labor organization. So even just 2 or 3 people who are committed to growth.
Not that that wasn't real, but this is also real.
Reaching for this higher standard. This matters at a level deeper than just having a friend or improving your morale. Your nervous system literally co-regulates with the people around you. Okay, so there's mirror neurons, there's auras mixing, emotional contagion. There's measurable biological factors. If your circle or the people that you interact with have surrendered to the Kali Yuga, they've given up. If the people closest to you are nihilistic, passive, numbing themselves, afraid, you're going to absorb that to some degree, no matter how strong your own personal discipline is. So if all these people are swimming and drowning, you're not going to stay dry if they're splashing water all over you. Okay, so find your people, whatever that means to you. The ones with fire behind their eyes, the ones who train, who study, who refuse to accept the degraded terms that the age offers, that are speaking the truth. Look, we're all impacted by the Kali Yuga. We're not perfect. Your friends don't have to be perfect. You have to be sincere about it all. Real authenticity, real unflinching sincerity about what's ahead of us, what we want to do. That's the most precious quality in this age. In Old Norse traditions, a man's worth was measured by the quality of his sworn companions, the men who would stand with him in the shield wall when everything else has gone to hell. Protect it, your group, once you've found it, be worthy of it, raise yourself to a higher standard, because that small band of men, brotherhood, women as well, that war band of people who see clearly, refuse to kneel.
Yeah, women as well. Don't forget your war band also has women as well, guys. So if you were thinking about unfollowing my YouTube channel, I do recognize that there are women in the war bands. And I'm not crazy. I might be woke and aware, but I'm not racist or sexist, really. I might be racist, but I'm sure not sexist. There are shield maidens.
Through the Kali Yuga. Now I want to give you the reframe that separates those who drown from those who surf. The attitude that turns the Kali Yuga from a curse into a forge. The alchemists, those strange mystics who spoke about metals and fire, they had a core principle: solve et coagula, dissolve and reconstitute. You take base material, lead, and through fire, through pressure, through the discipline of transformation, you transmute it into gold. The key thing to realize is that the lead is not the enemy. You're not going to complain about all the lead around. The lead is the raw material. Without it, there's nothing to transform. Without the base, there can be no gold. The Kali Yuga is the lead, the lead. Every difficulty you face in this age, the confusion, the isolation, the feeling of swimming upstream against the entire current of civilization.
No, we are the lead. What are you talking about, dude? Bro doesn't even really understand alchemy, dude. We're the lead, and we have to turn ourselves into gold. The age is not the lead, dude. What are you talking about? This is once again, it's like, we are the thing that we're trying to change. We're not trying to change the world. If you're trying to change the world, you've lost, because now you're in a battle with the world, and the world is infinitely more powerful than you. You, against yourself, you could win that. And if you lose it, guess what? You still won it because you lost against yourself. Therefore, you've already won. All you have to do is give up. If you give up, when you start a battle against yourself, you give up, guess what? You just won. You just won the battle against yourself. Now you're gold. All right? Chop off a finger, that's a few ounces of gold. You just made like $8,000. Alchemy is not that complicated.
As it stands, the daily encounters with degeneracy and decay and spiritual poverty, none of it is wasted if you have this perspective change. If you hold the right orientation, it's all material, it's all fuel. The fire that you burn this fuel with is your discipline, your practice, and simply your perspective on life.
What are you doing, Escazoo?
The weight of the age.
I'm going to play as a girl in Warband. Ooh, my eyes are glowing.
The disciplined soul, the awakened being,
that's cool, dude.
Being who gives his all without being attached to it. That is like a roaring fire. It doesn't really matter what you
That's very cool.
It's hot enough that it just consumes everything and grows stronger, it burns brighter.
You see they put a bug in a fake world?
Difficulty.
Kind of freaky. They scanned a bug's brain, they scanned a fly's brain, and then they basically put it into a simulated world in a bug's body, in a fly's body. And it basically just moved around like it was like alive. Like it didn't realize it was not in real life. Which, once again, maps to reality, but it's not worth thinking about. Not worth thinking about. Stop thinking about it. Instead, send me your money. PowerTouchLive/Paul Town.
Retracting it, but because you understand in your bones that the difficulty is...
Stop thinking about it. Instead, just send me your money.
A skilled sailor. Sailor? A skilled
sailor.
No, I need to remember this properly. A safe harbor.
They call it just like me. Yeah, they made a bug like Big Bongo.
So
they put a fly's brain in a guy named Big Bongo. He still doesn't realize he's a fly. He thinks he's a person named Big Bongo.
You pretend the darkness isn't real. You acknowledge its full weight, and then you use it. You surf it. You ride it. You take the very force that was designed to crush you, and you let it temper you into something harder, sharper, and more luminous than anything.
He doesn't realize he's a bug yet.
A blade forged in a gentle,
very Kafka-esque situation.
A blade forged in a furnace, hammered on the anvil, quenched in cold water, heated, hammered again. That blade will hold its edge through anything. You are the blade, the Kali Yuga is the furnace. And the question is simply whether you will let it destroy you or forge you. Will you perish like a dog? Or will you live? Will you fight? So we're nearing the end now. I want to leave you with...
Once again, it's like, what? Fight what, dude? That's what I was saying. It's like all this is just fake. It's like the war, going to war for Israel. Are you going to let those Iranians who hate America attack the last bastion of freedom and take over America? And the Chinese are going to destroy all Americans and kill Americans, and the Russians are going to interfere in our elections, and Chi-Coms and why not? Why wouldn't I? What is this? What is it? What are you saying? What does this even mean, dude? What are you going to do? Make me like, that's the thing. Like, at the end of the day, if I was drafted, I wouldn't be upset. I would be like, this is cool. Now I get to go kill people. Like, I'm like really hardcore. Like, let's just be real. Let's just be straightforward with you guys. If I got drafted, but I would switch my personality to be like, damn, I get to go murder people and be a savage. Sweet. Jack me up on steroids, give me machine guns. I'm going to go kill children, right? That would be my mission. All right, Israel, send me into Iran. Let me find those kids. I'll kill them all for you. And I set the high score, right? That's how I am. I'm just the best at everything, right? But I'm not forced to be there. Why would I have that feeling? It's like, it's retarded. But if I'm forced to be there, it's like, yeah, okay, let's go for it. Let's get the high score. You know what I mean? Jack me up, get me on that trend, give me a machine gun, unleash me in the children's hospital, and let me do what I need to do for this country, to save this country. And I would expect each of you to be that way too if you got drafted. But we weren't drafted. And it's the same thing with the Kali Yuga. It's like, what are you talking about? I'm using DoorDash. I'm using Uber Eats. I'm sitting in a leather chair. I'm watching pirated movies. I'm watching Pirates of the Caribbean. Literally pirated. That's how cool it's getting. I'm watching One Piece, another movie about pirates, also pirated. See, I'm on a next level of things. Okay? And I am making bots that take in people's videos, take all their content, and abstract them so I never have to watch anybody else's content. And eventually I can just make robots that copy their content and make tweet threads and argue with people, and then I get AdSense money. I don't care about any of this crap, respectfully. I'm on a different level. I'm eating a grilled cheese sandwich. I'm eating yogurt with blueberry syrup. I just had 12 raw eggs. I had kettle cooked jalapeno potato chips. The Kali Yuga, yeah, cool. Okay, I don't deny that some things are happening. Some interesting things. We might be at the singularity, the end of the world, the revelations. Jesus might be coming back. The Antichrist might be here. Cool. All that stuff is very cool. Unfortunately, there's like cooler things going on, which makes me think that none of these things are actually happening. The fact that I find things programming on a computer more interesting than the end of the world hints to me, it gives me a little hint that, hey, this isn't the end of the world. This isn't actually that bad. It's just the reality's changing very hard. Reality's changing a lot, and it's going to change a lot more. And the people who think that we're like in some weird end of the world apocalypse are about to like go crazier and crazier and crazier. And I just hope they don't. I just hope they have fun. That's really the end of the day. I hope they have fun. But they can't have fun with me because I'm busy.
All around you. Look around you.
I'm busy, okay?
It actually matters. It truly matters, and here's why. The Kali Yuga is a season. It's not a sentence. The wheel turns. The ancient texts are explicit. This is cyclical. It's not linear. After the longest, darkest winter, the golden age returns. Light returns. Order returns. The divine connection that was severed is restored. How does that help you? It helps because perspective is power. When you understand that you're not navigating a bad decade or a rough political cycle, but participating in a cosmic process that is incomprehensible.
Yeah, once again, it's not that life doesn't matter. And even though it doesn't, it's that life, your life isn't, you're not the star of a Marvel movie. That's the end of the world, even though you are. So really both are true and neither are true. But this is what I'm saying is like, you can say both are true. You can say none of this really matters. And also it's all fake, which is like, it's the Marvel movie, right? So that's a valid thing because you're both sides, you're being correct. Or you can say, no, it's not that your life doesn't matter, but also your life only matters a little bit. You can't be like, it's not that your life doesn't matter, so you're in a cosmic struggle. It's like either you're in a cosmic struggle and everything matters, which also means nothing matters because it's all already preordained, right? Which means it's going to happen anyway. But it doesn't mean it's not, everything does matter, right? Or nothing matters, right? It's the same thing. It's not either or. Or the other option is that your life does matter, and it really does matter, but it only matters a little bit because we're all a very small portion of the universe. You can't have your life does matter, and also you're part of a cosmic struggle. It's like, no, your life doesn't matter, and you're part of a cosmic struggle.
Intensively larger than your individual life. Something can kind of shift. The petty frustrations, they shrink to their true size when you zoom out. The daily provocations lose their teeth. They can't latch
I am the cow and there is no storm. If I'm not stressed, it's a clear forecast. Oh, I like that, dude.
you as well because you know what you're facing now. You stop being reactive to the noise because you pesky Kali Yuga, you're trying to get me again. You're trying to get me in fear. And you were trying to upset me. No, I'm centered, I'm present, and I'm going to level up my vril every single day. And you cannot get me.
This is what people do when they don't have, like... This is why it's really important, and all jokes aside, this is why it's really important to get married and have kids. Because you just end up doing this otherwise.
From that elevated vantage point, you see your vril every single day. You pesky Kali, they can't latch onto you as well because you know what you're facing now. You stop being reactive to the noise because you pesky Kali Yuga, you're trying to get me again. You're trying to get me in fear. And you were trying to upset me. No, I'm centered, I'm present, and I'm going to level up my vril every single day. And you cannot get me. From that elevated vantage point, you see your role clearly. You're not here to fix the Kali Yuga. That is not your burden, that is not your task. You are not here to reverse this cosmic tide.
Oh, that's funny shit, dude.
You're here to carry the flame through it. Gwenon wrote about how the traditional spirit withdraws into itself during the final phase, during the Kali Yuga.
I prefer to dwell in delusion knowingly. What does it say about you? That you're enlightened, dude. Because we're all in delusion. Only some of us are willing to be okay with it.
Genuine knowledge is preserved. They become more closed off, more hidden, harder to access. It's a pretty ancient strategy. The flame within us doesn't have to have this huge bonfire on every single hill right now. It just needs to be kept alive, shielded from the dark winds within, passed from hand to hand in the dark amongst men that actually know and feel this flame. from father to son, teacher to student, from one sincere person to the next. That is your role, not to save the world, but to be someone the world cannot corrupt. To walk through the ruins upright, carrying something precious, something eternal, through the darkest stretches. So when the wheel finally turns, and it will turn.
Yeah, that's, I think, everyone thinks they're the hero of the story, and it's like, dude, there's no heroes here, bro. I guess that's really the core difference between myself and a lot of people, where it's like, I'm of the opinion, it's like, no, everybody's really, really bad. And then that doesn't mean that I don't want to win, though. I want to win because I'm me. Not because I'm a good person, because I'm me. Everyone is really like taking advantage of a lot of different people and hurting a lot of people. I don't want to hurt people, but that's what's going to happen. But also, I don't want to lose, and I don't feel bad about knowing that everybody. Whereas other people, it's like, no, well, I'm the good guy, and this is the good story, and this is how it works, and I'm good. And that's why I need to win, because goodness wins. And it's like, no, in my opinion, it's like, we're all really like part of a really, really nasty, ugly, evil system. Personally, I would prefer to live. It'd probably be more moral if we all just died. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't actually want to do that, though. I don't want to lose and die and disappear. I would prefer to continue being evil and continue being alive than to be good and dead. Because if I'm dead, it doesn't matter that I'm good, I'm dead. I'd much rather be flawed and imperfect and part of a system that's evil and disgusting and just genuinely evil, then be like, I'm a good person and dead, because that's the only person who's good, is a dead person. You know what I mean? And that's like, it's like a very weird, other people are like, well, when the goodness wins, and it will. It's like, well, why do you think you're going to be part of the goodness, dude? You're like part of Australia. You know, Australia, do you know what they did to the Aboriginals? Same thing with Americans, what they did with the slaves, you know? The white people, what they did to the slaves. But that's like, at the end of the day, it's like, those are arbitrary distinctions, really. Like, people are people. But yeah, this whole idea of like, we are the good guys. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, every single group is bad. They just don't, like, the only reason you don't see it with a lot of groups is because they're not in power. Every single group, when they get in power, they do bad things, but they do bad things in very specific ways that are related to them. Right? So when Jewish people are in power, there are very bad things that happen that are Jewish related. When white people in power, very bad things happen that are white people related. Black people in power, there's no other people, there's just black people apparently. And then, whatever. Yeah, that's like how it works. It's like everybody has flaws. It's like, me with $1 million, me with $10 million, me with $100 million, there's going to be bad things I do with that money, or stupid things I do with that money, that are going to be different than you with $1 million, $10 million, $100 million. That doesn't mean that just because the things are different, that they don't happen because of one person. You know what I mean? Everything's bad. Got it. Yeah. Exactly. Everything's bad. So I guess, like, whatever. Cool. That's the point. Everything's bad. Now I move on. Okay. So now I'm not worried about who's good or bad. I'm worried about winning. I want to win. Why would I want to lose? You know what I mean? Now we're past this whole moralizing, whatever nonsense this is. The long view, you are the flame keeper. You are here to carry the flame through the Kali Yuga. Like, what are we talking? Who cares about any of this crap? We are the Kali Yuga, dude.
The Kali Yuga is real. The darkness is real. The forces arrayed against your awakening.
We are the Kali Yuga.
Rest.
We're not going through the Kali. We are an expression. As Schopenhauer said, the world is will and representation. We are a representation of the Kali Yuga. We are a representation of the most evil age, filled with the most evil, demented forces available to humanity and Earth. We are perhaps the most evil creatures ever to exist. That's cool.
You already knew that. Your soul knew that. You could feel it before you even really had a name for it. Something in you has been pushing back against this your entire life. Maybe quietly, maybe without words, without consciousness. But it was there. The fire
We
was
are the darkness.
there. Do not fight the wave.
I just start chanting in Latin backwards all of a sudden. I fall back, start chanting in Latin.
Flee from it. There is nowhere to run. Do not pretend it isn't there. Surf it. Ride the tiger. Let the very pressure of this age forge you into something.
Surf the
that could not have been
tiger.
forged in kinder times. The men and women who refuse to kneel in the Kali Yuga carry more spiritual
We
weight
are chosen
than
by
saints of old
God to
Greek.
save the Earth. That's the thing too. We could all die. The Earth would still be here. We could nuke the Earth. The Earth would still exist. Like, it's just a rock with stuff on it, and like dragons in the center swimming around, and like a golden soup doing whatever dragon stuff they do, make the magnetic fields shift. That's one thing people don't really understand. They still don't understand. We think we know everything. Is there's like the magnetic true north keeps shifting every year way faster than it should, which means that something in the center of the earth is like liquid and like basically is like essentially the magnetic forces of the earth. We still don't understand how they work. We can basically kind of guess, but we don't really know what's at the center of the earth.
Cost of standing now is immeasurably higher. So take that to heart. You
Hitler.
can surf through the car user. I hope
No.
this presentation has been helpful to you. Much love, much energy out to you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And farewell.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys feel like the world is dark? You're not crazy. You're waking up.